Hi, my name is Shayna Bailey, Arkansas Behavior Support Specialist, and I'm excited to share with you 3 strategies that can increase student participation in your classroom. Have you ever had this experience where your students seem uninterested, unmotivated, or simply checked out during your lesson? Or maybe your students look back at you with blank stares or uninterested expressions as you teach a lesson in your classroom. What we want is for students to look like this, ready to participate and engaged in our lessons. So today I'm going to share with you 3 strategies that you can use to increase participation in your classroom. Our first strategy is random selection. This means the teacher randomly selects the student who's going to respond to a posed prompt or question. One strategy for randomly selecting a student can be to draw a popsicle stick, slip of paper, or card with a student's name on it. That would be the student who would be responsible for responding. It is important to pose the question to the class before you select the student who will respond. This makes sure that all students listen to the question.
So, one of the strategies that I use in my classroom to engage students is I simply use popsicle sticks that are craft sticks that have the names of every student in the classroom, and I use them across the board in every subject area. So, anytime I need a question answered, I need directions reaffirmed, I need um, attention, I will just pull a stick with that student's name and I will ask my question or ask or whatever I'm looking for. The kids are always in anticipation. I've noticed that if they'll look to see what color, if I happen to have colored sticks, they'll look to see if it's their color because some of them know that if it's blue, it might possibly be their name. So they really better pay attention. But they know when I have the sticks, I keep them in my hand, and it's just luck of the draw. It's just random. I use, like I said, I use them for reading. I use them for math. I use them for what was those directions? Can somebody tell me what did so and so just say? It's just to keep them engaged. It's to keep them working together. It's to keep them on task, and it's always been efficient in the fact that they have to be aware of what's going on. They have to be engaged with what's going on. Um, they like it. They always, you'll see them sitting there with their fingers crossed, sometimes hoping that their stick gets drawed because they really want to, participate in what's taking place.
Another strategy could be using a pair of dice. You might roll the dice. One dice would tell you the row or table from whom you're going to select the student, and then the other dice would give you the number of the student in that row or at that table. So if we rolled this, a 5 and a 1, the teacher might select the first student in the 5th row to give a response. Another option is to use an electronic method for randomly selecting a student to respond. This website provides one free resource. Let's take a look. You simply come to this right-hand side, list the names of your students, and save them. Each time you come to this webpage, your list should be there. Then when you're ready to select the student, you come to the middle and click Select, and it will shuffle and present you the name of a randomly selected student. In this case, Esther. There are a couple of other neat features on this page that you can use. One is this spinner. So once you save the names of the students, you can click on this spinner, click spin, and it will randomly select the student that way. When you're finished using this, you just scroll down to return back to that random selection page. There's one more over here called Names in a Hat. So you can click Pick, and one of the students will be pulled out and placed on the board. The neat thing about this one is it doesn't replace the names of the students. So if you're wanting to do random selection where the name of the student does not go back into the hat, this is the one that you can use. Again, you can always click to return to the random student generator page at any point that you wish. Random selection increases student participation because it holds students accountable for their learning. In other words, students have to be ready to respond at any time because they never know when they're going to be the randomly selected student. Our next strategy is whole group responses. With this strategy, all students provide a response to a teacher question or prompt at the same time. One option is to have a verbal response, where students either answer a question or read text aloud at the same time. For example, the teacher might pose a question such as, "Where does the story take place?" And then all students respond at the same time with a location where they think the story took place. Another option is a think, pair, share, or a think, write, pair, share option. So with this, students are paired up, and at the same time, they're thinking about, maybe writing, and then talking about their responses to the teacher question or prompt. Responses can also be nonverbal. Students might simultaneously raise a response card to give their response, move to a section of the room that's been labeled for different response options, raise a number to indicate the response that they want to give. So in our previous example with the question, "Where did the story take place?" maybe the teacher writes a list of 5 locations on the board, and all students simultaneously hold up the number of fingers that correspond to the location where they think the story took place. And then lastly, you could have electronic whole group responses when you use things such as Kahoot and all students answer a question at the same time. Whole group responses increase student participation because it increases the number of opportunities that students have to respond. So rather than just one student or a couple of students responding to the teacher's question, all students get to respond to the question. Another benefit is that it allows the teacher to assess mastery by getting responses from all the students at the same time. Our last strategy is silent hand signals. So silent hand signals are when students use pre-taught hand signals to participate during lessons. Some examples of silent hand signals might include a thumbs up or thumbs down to say "I agree" or disagree with a teacher or peer comment, a student raising a pinky to indicate they have a question related to the lesson. Students might raise their hand in the shape of the letter C to ask for clarification or a more detailed explanation. Or maybe students want to build on a comment made by the teacher or a peer, so they indicate that by holding up one hand and then putting the other hand on top. These are just a few examples. You may come up with your own. There are some steps you can take to promote use of silent hand signals. First, make sure you consider student input. Let them help choose the signals that you're going to use in your classroom. Make sure to practice the hand signals and using them before you introduce them during a lesson. It can also sometimes help to put up a visual display of the hand signals as a constant reminder for your students. As you begin a lesson, make sure to remind students of what hand signals you're going to be looking for them to use during that lesson. And then throughout the lesson, you as the teacher can model use of the hand signals. When students do use the hand signals, make sure to recognize that, either with praise or through whatever reward or recognition system you might be using in your classroom. Silent hand signals increase student participation because it gives some students a nonverbal way to participate during lessons. It also gives students some choice in how they want to participate, whether that's verbally or through a hand signal. Use of hand signals creates an expectation that students are supposed to listen and respond to comments made by both the teacher and peers in the classroom. Now I challenge you to take action to increase student participation in your classroom. First, plan ahead. Know what questions you want to ask, how you're going to select who will respond to those questions, and what type of responses students should be making. Number 2, make sure to provide a variety of opportunities to respond using the 3 strategies we've discussed today: silent hand signals, whole group responses, and random selection, as well as other strategies already in your tool belt. Number 3, check yourself. Pay attention to the opportunities to respond that you include in your lessons, or ask a peer or other colleague to come in and observe your lesson and provide you with some feedback. Thank you for joining me for this behavior break.